Alright, we are going to make some pancakes. This book actually is my recipe book, and this page got wet the other day, so I'm not sure if you can read this. The basic recipe is 1.5 cups of flour. More on that in a bit. I use various types of flour. A tablespoon of sugar. I actually use honey instead. A tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 beaten egg, 2 tablespoons of oil, and 1 1/3 cups of milk. You can use milk, you can use yogurt. I normally use buttermilk, but I don't have any. You can use kefir, whatever you like. So I'm going to make a double batch of these and show you how I do it. It's very easy. Okay, the first thing I always do is set my pan on to 4 to preheat. Before I start mixing the ingredients, I find it's good and hot just when I'm ready to start making the pancakes. You notice I have the handle pointing in because there's kids in the house. You never know when they're going to go ripping by the stove, chasing each other, and that's just a safety feature. Okay, I'm going to use my KitchenAid. You can see I have the whisk on there. I have all my ingredients out here on the counter, my 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of oil, which is 4 tablespoons. Remember, I'm making a double batch. There's 2 2/3 cups of milk. There's my 3 cups of flour. I've used 2 cups of whole wheat, 1 cup of white. Both of them are local organic. The brownish stuff on top is Himalayan sea salt, and you might be able to see a couple of patches here, white, very white. That's my baking powder. And I've got about this much honey that I'm going to put in there. And let's start assembling. So I like to start out with my eggs. And just give those a really good beat first. So, up with this. And now we add the oil. And the honey. Going to be tough to do this with one arm, so I'm going to have to shut off the camera. Okay, you can see the blob of honey down there. I just let that get good and mixed, and then I pour in the milk. Alrighty, here comes 2 cups and 2/3 cups, and there we go. Alright, we have our stuff all mixed up here. We've got all the flour and everything else in here. Just gonna dump that in. Alright, we got it all poured in. We're just gonna give that a good stir. Okay, it's all mixed up. I'm over here at the stove now. Now, depending on what you are using for flour, depending on whether you're using milk or yogurt or whatever, depending how big your eggs are, the mixture as I presented it may turn out a bit thick, in which case you just add a couple of tablespoons of water to it to thin it up a bit. Also depends on how you like your pancakes. If you like them really high and thick, then you want a thicker mixture. I've got all my tools ready, my pancake flipper, got a bit of butter there for the pan. The plate is for putting the pancakes on after they come out of the frying pan. And I have this little wee ladle, I'll show you how big that is, that I find perfect for one pancake. So what I'm going to do is just put a bit of butter in the pan. It's a non-stick pan, technically don't need the butter, but I find it does help a little bit. Alrighty, we're good there. And I do 3 pancakes at a time. This looks kind of a bit thin. I won't need to add water to it. And 1, 2, 3, and I find that it takes 5 minutes per side, so it takes a while to make a batch, and it's going to take the better part of an hour to make that whole batch. Makes quite a few pancakes, certainly a lot more than we can eat at breakfast, but they keep really well. You just put them in a sealed container. They keep out of the fridge for up to a week. You don't even have to refrigerate them. So it's handy to make a whole batch of them. The kids will eat them for breakfast for a few days during the week. Okay, how do you tell when a pancake is ready to flip? My 5 minutes is up. You can see maybe that it's got, well, you can definitely see the bubbles are coming out on the surface. It's looking a bit cooked around the edge. So I just know on my stove it's 5 minutes. Some people will want a few more bubbles to come out in the middle. I find when you're using whole wheat flour, they don't come out as well as they do with all white flour. But it's definitely ready to flip. The first ones out will be a little bit browner than the next ones that you make. So here we have it, and 5 more minutes and the first batch will be ready. Okay, almost done there. Now obviously the great thing about using the timer, once you figure out what the time is for your stove and your conditions, is that even though it takes about an hour to make all these pancakes, I don't have to be hanging out here over the stove the whole time. Turn that off. I don't have to be hanging out over the stove the whole time. Set the timer. I can do other stuff around the kitchen or even in the room, go check my email, whatever, and I just let the stove let me know when I got to be back here. It's really handy that way. So it's worth your while to figure out. I'm guessing most stoves will be, as long as you find the right temperature. For me, it's just shy of 4, just a hair shy of 4 on my dial for the burner, and that's just perfect. The pancakes don't burn or anything. I can cook them like that, have it set on that for the whole hour that I'm cooking these things, and set that for 5 minutes. So I'm guessing most stoves will be 4 to 5 minutes. Try 4 first, then try 5. Alright, we're flipping them over again. Sometimes you gotta cut them apart here in the middle. That's really easy to do, just like that. This is my 3rd batch, but you can see the plate is empty. The boys are eating them faster than I can cook them. I might get one for myself out of this batch, hopefully. Yes, I know, stove here. Alright, 5 more minutes and I might get one myself finally. Okay, we're getting down to the bottom here. I always scrape the sides down in. This may be obvious, but I'm going to record it anyway, just so we're not wasting anything. And when we get down to the last bit, so this looks like probably, instead of doing 3 pancakes next time, I'm just going to do 1 big one with the remaining batter here. I will also take the spatula and scrape off my thing here, my ladle, and get all of the batter off of it, and then I'll just scrape the batter out into the frying pan for the last one. Oh yes, one other thing, I noticed that on the last batch I did, there was a bit of scorching, so I turned my stove back to a little bit more, almost as far back as 3.5, and that should alleviate the problem. Okay, there's the last one. You can see it's a bit bigger than the other ones. I scraped that right out with the spatula, and we're almost done. I didn't get as many left over as normal because the boys have been eating them like crazy. They've both had probably twice as much as they normally do, and also the fact that I ate some today. Normally I don't have them myself, so I've only got 6 there plus the 1 here. That'll be enough for another day or 2 for the boys for breakfast. Alright, and it would be a shame to have, we're almost done of our last one, it would certainly be a shame to have a pancake video without someone flipping pancakes. So let's see how good I am at this. It's been a while, but there's a trick to it. And boom, away we go.